As we come to the end of this journey through their life and legacy, what remains is not only the memory of their achievements, but the emotional imprint they left on the world and the lives they touched along the way. Their story continues beyond words, living on in inspiration, in influence, and in the silent ways they changed those who followed them. In remembering them, we honor not just who they were, but what they stood for, and in doing so, we are reminded that every life has meaning, every struggle has purpose, and every legacy carries the power to inspire long after the final chapter has been written. Michael DeLano was a versatile American entertainer whose life traced a remarkably long and emotionally rich journey through music, television, film, and live performance, reflecting both the brilliance and the quiet endurance of a man who never stopped believing in the power of the stage. Born on November 26, 1940, in Norfolk, Virginia, under the name Michael Ace Del Fatti, he grew up in a world where post-war America was finding its rhythm, and from a young age, he felt an instinctive attraction to sound, movement, and expressive art. His early environment encouraged curiosity and imagination, and long before he understood the realities of fame, he already dreamed of standing before an audience, sharing emotion through voice and presence. As a teenager, he immersed himself in music and dance, discovering that performance was not just an interest but a language through which he could communicate his inner world. His first brush with national recognition came as a dancer on the legendary television show American Bandstand, where young energy and cultural change collided in a dazzling celebration of music. There he learned the pressures and excitement of live television, the importance of timing, and the discipline required to be part of a constantly moving production. These formative experiences sharpened his instincts as an entertainer and gave him early insight into what it meant to connect with a vast audience. Yet before he fully surrendered to the arts, Michael chose to serve his country, becoming a paratrooper in the United States Air Force. This chapter of his life was marked by physical rigor, mental toughness, and a deepening sense of responsibility, shaping his character and strengthening his resilience in ways that would later help him navigate the unpredictable terrain of Hollywood. After returning from military service, his passion for music led him to pursue a recording career. Under the stage name Key Larson, he released several singles in the early 1960s that reflected the romantic and melodic style of the time. Though commercial success remained modest, the experience taught him invaluable lessons about persistence, self-expression, and artistic vulnerability. He realized that success was not only about chart positions but about the sincerity of performance and the courage to share one's voice with the world. This understanding slowly guided him toward acting, where he discovered a new dimension of creative fulfillment. He began working in theater, absorbing every detail of stagecraft, from voice control to emotional depth, and gradually transitioned into television, where his talent found a wider platform. During the 1970s and 1980s, Michael DeLano became a familiar presence on American screens, appearing in an impressive range of popular series. His portrayal of Johnny Venture, the charismatic lounge singer on the sitcom Rhoda, became one of his most recognizable roles, allowing him to seamlessly blend his musical background with his acting ability. In this character, he displayed warmth, confidence, and authenticity, qualities that resonated deeply with audiences and made his performance memorable long after the episodes aired. His television career continued to expand as he took on roles in shows such as Kojak, The A-Team, Hill Street Blues, Wonder Woman, General Hospital, Magnum P.I., and many others, each appearance reinforcing his reputation as a dependable and talented character actor. He possessed a rare versatility that allowed him to shift effortlessly between emotional drama, light humor, and intense action, always maintaining a sense of realism and sincerity in his portrayals. In film, he appeared in the action classic Commando, where he stepped into the high-stakes world of cinematic spectacle, demonstrating his ability to command the screen even in supporting roles. Later, His parts in Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12 as a casino manager brought him renewed visibility and subtly tied his identity to the vibrant world of Las Vegas. In the early 1990s, Michael chose to make Las Vegas his home, embracing the city not just as a residence but as a living stage where his lifelong love for performance could continue to flourish. He returned to live entertainment, captivating audiences in lounges and casinos with his smooth vocals, engaging stories, and the unmistakable charm of a seasoned showman. These performances allowed him to interact directly with people, creating moments of genuine connection that reminded him why he had fallen in love with performance in the first place. For him, the stage was not merely a platform but a sacred space where emotion, memory, and artistry merged into something timeless. Beyond the spotlight, he lived a life rooted in love, loyalty, and family. He shared decades with his wife Jean, building a partnership defined by mutual support and enduring affection. His family was his anchor, offering comfort and perspective as he navigated the highs and lows of his career. Even as time passed and his public appearances became less frequent, his spirit as an entertainer never faded. He remained passionate about music, storytelling, and the simple joy of making others feel something real. When Michael DeLano passed away at the age of 84, the world lost a performer whose legacy was not measured by fleeting headlines but by decades of quiet dedication and heartfelt artistry. His life stands as a tribute to perseverance, humility, and the unwavering pursuit of one's passion. From his early days as a dancer dreaming under studio lights to his later years as a beloved performer in Las Vegas, he embodied the essence of an artist who lived not for fame but for the genuine love of expression. His memory continues to echo through the roles he played, the songs he sang, and the countless lives he touched, serving as a reminder that true greatness often lies in consistency, sincerity, and the courage to stay true to oneself across the ever-changing landscape of time. Reginald T. Jackson's life stands as a powerful narrative of faith, leadership, resilience, and an unwavering dedication to justice that unfolded over decades of continuous service to both church and society, forming a legacy that reached far beyond the pulpit and into the lived realities of countless individuals whose lives were shaped by his presence, words, and actions. Born on April 26, 1954, in Dover, Delaware, he grew up in an environment where the church was not merely a place of Sunday worship but a living center of guidance, moral instruction, and communal identity. From a young age he demonstrated an unusual awareness of purpose, a sense that his life would be entwined with service, leadership, and a responsibility to uplift others. His early years were marked by discipline, curiosity, and a growing affection for history, theology, and the idea that faith could be a transformative force not only in individual lives but within entire communities. After completing his studies at Delaware State University, where he earned a degree in history, Jackson's intellectual pursuits led him deeper into theological education. At the Interdenominational Theological Center in Atlanta, he refined his spiritual philosophy and developed a framework that would define his ministry. Faith as action, belief as responsibility, and leadership as service. By the time he completed his Master of Divinity, Jackson was no longer simply a man studying ministry. He had become a figure prepared to step boldly into the role of shepherd, advocate, and builder of institutions. His early pastoral years at St. John AME Church and later at St. Matthew AME Church in Orange, New Jersey, revealed his ability to energize congregations, strengthen spiritual foundations, and create a sense of belonging that resonated deeply with people seeking guidance and hope. Under his leadership, St. Matthew AME Church evolved into more than a place of worship. It became an anchor of stability and progress. He expanded ministries, introduced educational programs, championed youth initiatives, and transformed the church into a multidimensional institution offering support for families, counseling for those in crisis, and platforms for civic engagement. His sermons reflected clarity, depth, and emotional intelligence, blending theological insight with real-world application. He spoke not in distant abstraction but in language that touched the struggles of daily life, addressing poverty, inequality, discrimination, and the moral obligations of a society that too often abandoned its most vulnerable members. Jackson's election as the 132nd Bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in 2012 marked another significant chapter in his life, expanding his reach from local community to national and international influence. As bishop, he carried the responsibility of spiritual oversight for hundreds of congregations, offering guidance, unity, and direction during times of both growth and challenge. He was not a distant administrator but a visible presence, engaging directly with clergy and congregants, reinforcing the belief that leadership must remain connected to the people it serves. His episcopal work emphasized discipline, accountability, and renewal, while maintaining a compassionate understanding of human struggle and imperfection. Beyond his ecclesiastical responsibilities, Reginald Jackson became known for his fierce advocacy for civil rights and social justice. He was an outspoken voice against systemic racism, voter suppression, and social inequalities that undermined the promise of dignity and freedom. He spoke in public forums, collaborated with civic leaders, and stood alongside activists in moments that demanded courage and moral clarity. To him, faith was not separate from justice, it was its foundation. He believed that silence in the face of injustice was a betrayal of spiritual truth and that the Church's mission extended beyond spiritual salvation to the active defense of human worth. His influence extended into education and governance, where he served on boards and committees dedicated to institutional reform and youth development. He saw knowledge as empowerment and encouraged young people to view themselves not as victims of circumstance but as architects of their own futures. Through mentorship, public dialogue, and example, he inspired countless individuals to aspire beyond limitations and to recognize the strength within their own voices. His presence in political and civic discussions was not driven by ambition but by a sincere commitment to ensuring that faith communities had a seat at the table where justice and policy intersected. In his personal demeanor, Jackson embodied humility, wisdom, and compassion. He was known for his measured speech, calm authority, and ability to listen deeply. Those who encountered him often spoke of his warmth and sincerity, his willingness to offer comfort in times of grief and encouragement in moments of doubt. Despite his many responsibilities, he remained grounded in the values that shaped his youth: integrity, empathy, and devotion to the well-being of others. His private life reflected the same principles that guided his public service: fidelity, discipline, and a consistent devotion to spiritual growth. The passing of Reginald T. Jackson on November 25, 2025, marked the end of a remarkable chapter, yet the continuation of an enduring influence. His death was felt deeply not only within the AME Church but across communities that had benefited from his tireless advocacy and moral leadership. Tributes poured in from those whose lives he had touched, from congregants to civic leaders, each reflecting on a life that exemplified service and dedication. He left behind a legacy built not on personal glory but on collective empowerment and unwavering commitment to truth and justice. His memory lives on in the institutions he strengthened, the communities he uplifted, and the countless individuals who found inspiration in his words and example. Reginald T. Jackson's life demonstrated that leadership rooted in faith and guided by compassion has the power to transcend boundaries, reshape narratives, and inspire generations toward a vision of unity, dignity, and spiritual courage. Even in his absence, his voice echoes through the values he championed and the lives he transformed, affirming that a life devoted to service leaves an imprint that time cannot erase, and that true leadership endures not in titles but in the legacy of love, justice, and unwavering commitment to the betterment of humanity. Vanes Martirosyan's life is a striking portrait of perseverance, dedication, and the relentless pursuit of excellence forged through discipline, sacrifice, and an unwavering belief in his own potential, a journey that carried him from a childhood shaped by adversity to the world's most prestigious boxing arenas, where he carved out a reputation as a resilient, technically sound, and deeply respected professional fighter whose story reflects the emotional and physical demands of elite sport. Born on May 1, 1986, in Abovian, Armenia, Vanes spent his earliest years in a country still recovering from political and economic instability, and when his family immigrated to the United States in the early 1990s, they carried with them not only hopes for a better future but also the burden of rebuilding life from the ground up. Settling in Glendale, California, he grew up within a tight-knit Armenian-American community where cultural identity, hard work, and self-respect formed the foundation of his upbringing, yet it was boxing that would become the defining force of his life, offering a path through which discipline, focus, and ambition could be transformed into achievement. From the moment he first stepped into a boxing gym, it became clear that Martirosyan possessed not only natural talent but an uncommon determination to refine his craft. Under the guidance of experienced trainers, he developed a style that blended technical precision with mental toughness, learning to control distance, pace, and rhythm with maturity beyond his years. As an amateur, he quickly distinguished himself, representing the United States on the international stage and competing in the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens, an opportunity that solidified his identity as a fighter and marked the beginning of a professional career driven by promise and expectation. Although his Olympic journey ended earlier than hoped, the experience fueled a deeper hunger to succeed, reinforcing his resolve to make his name known in the professional rank. Turning professional shortly after, Martirosyan embarked on a path defined by relentless training and steady progression through competitive opposition. He amassed an impressive record over the years, showcasing skill, durability, and tactical intelligence that earned him recognition as one of the most consistent contenders in the junior middleweight division. His fights were rarely quiet affairs. Each bout reflected the intensity of a man who treated boxing not merely as a sport but as a vocation demanding both physical annihilation and emotional courage. He faced notable opponents, standing toe-to-toe with some of the most formidable names in the division, and though victories and setbacks both marked his career, he remained steadfast in his commitment to improvement and self-discipline. Perhaps one of the most defining aspects of Martirosyan's career was his ability to endure. Boxing is a sport built on physical punishment, and yet he approached each challenge with focus and composure, refusing to allow losses to define his identity. Instead, he treated every setback as a lesson, every bruise as evidence of his persistence, and every victory as proof of his resilience. His courage inside the ring mirrored a deeper personal narrative of an immigrant navigating life through perseverance and ambition, balancing cultural heritage with the demands of professional competition. To fans, he represented more than a boxer. He symbolized the strength of dedication, the reality of struggle, and the beauty of perseverance when confronted with overwhelming pressure. Outside the ring, Vanes Martirosyan carried himself with humility and sincerity, often reflecting on the role boxing played in shaping his discipline, character, and understanding of self-worth. He became a figure of inspiration for younger athletes, especially within the Armenian community, who saw in him a testament to what determination can achieve. His presence at boxing events, his interactions with fans, and his openness about the struggles of the sport revealed a man grounded in reality, aware of both his strengths and vulnerabilities. He never pretended boxing was easy. Instead, he spoke honestly about sacrifice, pain, and the emotional toll that accompanies the pursuit of greatness. As his career progressed, Martirosyan continued to compete at high levels, maintaining relevance through his professionalism and respect for the sport. Each fight added another layer to his legacy, another chapter to a story built on courage and authenticity. His journey was not defined solely by titles or statistics but by the embodiment of dedication in its purest form, the quiet strength of a fighter who never stopped striving for betterment, even when the odds weighed heavily against him. In a world where fame often fades quickly, his name endured through respect, character, and unwavering work ethic. Vanes Martirosyan's story reflects the essence of what it means to dedicate one's life to a calling that demands every ounce of strength, will, and belief. From a young boy in Armenia to an elite professional boxer on the world stage, his life illustrates the transformative power of discipline and perseverance. Though the boxing ring may no longer echo with the same intensity of his prime years, the impact of his journey continues to resonate in the hearts of those who watched him fight, those he inspired, and those who understand that greatness is not achieved in moments of glory alone, but in the quiet determination to rise, endure, and move forward no matter the cost. His legacy lives not only in the history of the sport, but in the persistent spirit of resilience that defines his life, a reminder that true strength is born from struggle, faith, and the unbreakable will to continue. In every life that leaves a lasting impression, there is a story shaped by struggle, perseverance, passion, and the quiet determination to rise above circumstance, and these are the stories that deserve to be remembered, not only for their moments of glory but for the human journey behind them, the sacrifices made, the battles fought, and the legacy left behind. Each individual whose life we explore represents more than a name or a moment in history. They embody the strength of the human spirit, the complexity of ambition, and the enduring impact one person can have on communities, culture, and memory. Through reflection on their paths, we are reminded that greatness is not defined solely by success, but by character, resilience, and the courage to continue moving forward in the face of every challenge life presents.